I'm Angelia Saplan. I'm a sophomore, creative writing and marketing double major here at Linfield College. And I hadn't read Stafford until about 2 weeks ago when I was invited to recite one of his poems. I decided to recite for you an introduction to literature because when I first read it, it made me feel something. And I think poets like William Stafford and even wannabe writers like me know that the most important action that a poem can have is to make the reader feel something. An introduction to literature. Look, no one ever promised for sure that we would sing. We have decided to moan. In a strange dance that we don't understand till we do it, we have to carry on. Just as in sleep, you have to dream the exact dream to round out your life, so we have to live those dreams into stories and hold them close at you, close at the edge we share to be right. We find it an awful thing to meet people, serious or not, who have turned into vacant, effective people, so far lost that they won't believe their own feelings enough to follow them out. The authentic is a line from one thing along to the next. It interests us. Strangely, it relates to what works, but is not quite the same. It never swerves for revenge or profit or fame. It holds together something more than the world, this line, and we are your wavery efforts at following it. Are you coming? Good. Now it is time. On the topic of feeling things and emotion and intensity, I decided to go an intense route with the poem that I've written. Last year, I had the privilege of seeing Rudy Francisco perform slam poetry, and it'd been the first time I had ever even heard of slam poetry. What's that? So, slam poetry is this crude and kind of nasty and raw version of poetry. The only way I can describe it is like getting punched in the gut with a fistful of words. So I'm going to do one of my quite pitiful attempts at slam poetry, Nutrition Facts, and it has some political topics like all poems do. It's not meant to offend or insult. It just is. So, okay. When you search the name Kate Chilver, you'll find one thing. The worst case of anorexia doctors have ever seen. British, mousy hair, 66 pounds. Nothing more than her disease. Questions will remain unanswered. What was her favorite color? Did she enjoy dancing in the rain? Was she ever in love? No. That's the thing about anorexia. It consumes you when you can't stomach a thing. You will learn that when she kicked the bucket, her skin painted green, the Grinch, heart 2 sizes too small, it was incapable of loving anything, especially herself. Lost to her number, she starved willingly. How could she do such a thing, you ask? Doctors denouncing her as troubled. Wary not, when they find her, vomit slewed across the floor, wary not to look under their own fingernails, ignore the cells buried there, skeletons in the closet, malicious words shoved down her throat, fat, disgusting pig. How indeed? Sorry. So look me in the eye when you push me onto the scale, because I am nothing more than a number that has weighed me down my entire life. Forced vomiting, starvation, and for what? A couple glances? Some whistles. A 10 called out when I walked down the school hallway. 10, the amount of pounds I need to lose by the end of this week. 10, the number of meals I'll try to skip. 10, the countless nights, sleepless, lost to horrific visions of my body because when I look in the mirror, I see I see a whole lot of nothing that weighs everything. If she's conservative, she's a prude. If she wears a short dress, she's a slut. Because a skirt and some nice heels equate to consent, and her cherry lipstick is a red flag waving proudly, ho. You teach me how not to be raped, instead of informing others how not to rape. Because victim blaming is easier than looking your son in the face, knowing he had been drunk, and as a product of your parenting, found the deepest crevice of innocence, jabbed a knife, twisted, and apparently didn't hear a horse cry, and she was asking for it when he pulled her onto the ground, ripped her underwear with sickening pops, shot a couple rounds, let her see the blue smoke ribbon from the trigger, shoved the barrel against her skull, and said she was going to do what he wanted. You shudder when women inject plastics into their cheeks, spend millions of dollars to wake up in the morning, gaze into something, the mirror, that is anything but hers, knowing each day before was a mistake, taking advantage of something she will never get back. Youth, love, time. So don't you dare tell me age is just a number. And if you do, know it is just a ticking time bomb that has no plan on stopping until it detonates, and the shards seep into their bones, paint them undesirable compared to the new and shiny model. So they spend millions on powders and paints and plastics and pencils so that just once they might hear the words, "You look ravishing tonight," one more time, and that she's still got it. You planted the knife, the gun, rope, reason, yet you still seem so surprised when the porcelain mask chips, confused when she guzzles the toxin, slits her wrist, sticks a bullet between the eyes, wears a rope as a necklace, and kicks out the chair. You, the ever-quiet bystander, always willing to criticize, but falls silent in times of need, looking around saying, "Someone should do something about that." And maybe, just maybe, that someone is you. So when you're staring at that splintered mercury sheet, questioning how on earth someone could do such a thing, remember that you chained the ball of oppression to her foot, tossed her into an unforgiving ocean, let judgment feast on her body as the last bubble of hope faded from her decrepit lungs, because you didn't give a damn about her. But you cry as if you were best friends. Her funeral's your own. So when is it enough? When will we finally be able to put the B, you, in beautiful? When will we stop praising masks, disorders, and obsessions, find love, and cherish the differences that mark us as unique human beings? You have crushed me, her, us, until we are nothing more than a collection of flaws stitched together with abuse and the constant reminder that we aren't good enough. And you call her weak? While you sit on your throne made of us victims, cruel slurs, unspeakable names, and shattered hearts. Somewhere there is a mother turning 40, and even though she knows this is supposed to be the middle, her life might as well be over because the best days have passed her by. A daughter whose arms drip crimson because she isn't and never will be the same again, because she didn't have the right to say no. Branded with that sickening A on her sweater, she'll write tramp on her resume. A sister who believes her significance corresponds to the scale's numbers glaring back at her with accusing eyes, forced to shrink, decline dinner, become nothing. As for me, I'll take seconds. Thank you.